How you doing, buddy?
Coach would have put me in the fourth quarter. We'd have been state champions, no doubt.
Looks like she's gonna turn cold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Got a front coming in.
We're going up through the quad to the gymnasium.
Just imagine.
All right, welcome to the Talk of the Town, the program here on KMA, where we get to know people from around the KMA listening area and what makes them interesting, what they're into today. Today I have with me a sports-themed Talk of the Town here. We have Dave Fast. He's a Missouri referee when it comes to high levels, and he's been doing both football and basketball. We'll be getting into that, how he got into it, and I have some interesting questions for him. I love to hear from the referee side of things that you don't get to hear much. They really don't have press conferences for referees much. They hope not. Isn't it always the worst? They don't want the referee. They don't want to know your name.
Yep, they don't ask us a whole lot of questions. So.
Yeah. So Dave, thanks for coming on here. Let's just get to the right away. Did you play sports growing up the whole time?
Yep. So I grew up just outside of Burlington Junction. Went to West Nottoway. So of course, summer baseball, that fun stuff. We didn't have baseball in high school. We did some wood bat league stuff like that down in St. Joe area, but. Basketball, football, track, all that stuff through high school. Did all those things.
The gambit.
Did the gamut of that. So, all conference, all district and stuff like that. So some all regional in basketball. Looked at playing some college sports. Had options to go to Peru for football and basketball. Had a preferred walk-on for Northwest for football, but they just won back-to-back national championships, those first of those two. And they were going to turn me into a tight end. I played quarterback in a small 8-man school in high school. So I didn't think I was that big then. I was 6'5", like 220. I didn't think I was, a big stature or anything like that. But they were going to turn me into a tight end, and I wasn't sure that's what I wanted to do. And
you could see the leap was big already.
Yeah. So decided I was like, I'm just going to be a college student and try to figure life out. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So started going to Northwest and went there a couple of years. Still couldn't figure out what I wanted to do.
That's a relevant thing.
Usually the way it goes. And but had some local guys that had officiated me, and they're like, "Hey, if you're not gonna play sports, why don't you start officiating?"
Right away, that early, huh?
Yeah, we need officials. So I'm 18 years old, and back then, everyone paid cash and. You'd show up for a game, you'd get some cash, and they're like, hey, you're 18 years old and you've got cash in your pocket. What else can you do? So started doing basketball games. I think for the first 2 or 3 years, I just did junior high, JV games here and there before varsity games. And now, if guys get started now, they get thrown into varsity games like in their first year or two because there's just a national shortage of officials in the area. But started doing small school games. Definitely KMA was at like Mound City tournament and stuff like that when I was growing up. And when I started officiating, started working those games. And then eventually kind of progressed things a little bit. Did high school football as well. After I'd done basketball for 2 years, started doing football. And that ended up going into a quicker process of working upper, more high school varsity games. Guy who was working a crew out of Maryville, Terry Oglesby. Obviously, everyone knows who Terry Oglesby is. He's worked basketball national championships over and over again. He got hired on to work in Division I basketball, and his high school crew said, "Hey, we need a back judge." And so I went and worked for him one night, and the next week they're like, "Hey, we need you again. T.O.'s busy." And week 3, they're like, "T.O.'s not coming back. We need you full time." And I was like, "All right, sure." So started working high school football. A couple of years down the road, we worked at our first state championship, worked an 8-man state championship. Ended up working 4 of those before I decided to hang up high school full time. And I really started focusing on college. So this will be year 10 for me for college football.
How does that transition happen? Like going, okay, I want to be done. You have to have a connection, bigger test, both.
Yeah. So had a buddy that was working that level. He's like, I originally applied, and me and my wife just got married. We ended up losing our first son, and I was like, hey, I can't go. Kind of rain checked that for about 4 or 5 years, and then I was like, hey, I really want to go do this again. So there's like, hey, go to this camp. So I went to this camp. At that time it was MIAA camp. And went there, and I was pretty green on the college side. Like I really had no clue. As a bigger guy, I was heavier then too, and they're like, I went for like a deep wing position, didn't know anything what I was going to do, and a guy by the name of Danny Harris was the assigner for the Heart of America conference. So that'd be like Peru State, Benedictine, Baker, a bunch of those schools. So yeah, Graceland. He called me and said, hey, I want to hire you as an umpire. And I'm like, man, I've never worked umpire my entire life. But he's like, yeah, I want to hire you as an umpire. So
is that the white hat?
Nope, not the white hat. So umpire, spot the ball.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, sounds great. So I'd work 2 games and I'd set out 2 games, work 2 games, set out 2 games my first year. I think I worked like 8 games for him. The next year I came in and same thing, umpire. Ended up getting on a alternate for playoff crew. I worked a bowl game. Year 3 came around, worked a first round playoff game, worked a bowl game.
So what year's that?
So that was my 3rd year officiating. That would have been like 2019.
Who are those?
So
games?
random games. Iowa Central was one of my bowl games. I worked up at the UNI Dome. I worked Iowa Central and a college out of New York called Nassau.
Okay.
NASSAU. Game goes into overtime.
Yeah.
It was a great game. I mean, we had a good time. The next year, it's back into the spring of things, and COVID year hits. They ended up doing a little bit of fall football, not much. So I worked some fall games. I think I worked like 5 games. Spring came around, worked some spring games. Ended up working a semifinal between Snow College out of Utah and Iowa Western at the time.
Okay.
And so that was great. And then the fall season comes around. And
so junior college as well as NAIA
so working
games?
Junior college, yeah. So when we work the Heart of America, they do some assigning for the ICCAC, the Iowa Community College. So work some of those games as well. So we're kind of bouncing back and forth between D1 JUCO athletes and NAIA athletes. So there's a big step up from that, from here to there. So my first game at Iowa Western, I had a guy that was a 6'8" guy from the University of Miami come in, want to know if he could wear a 10 advisor in the game. And I'm like, no, it's not allowed. You can't wear it. And he's like, oh, we can wear it at Miami. And I'm like, man, you're in Council Bluffs, Iowa. You're a long ways away from Miami.
I can't believe it got to you, though.
So there's a big difference. So they always come to the umpire to check equipment. So I'm like, no, you can't wear it. So season goes on. That year ended up working a couple playoff games. We ended up working like the JUCO National Semifinal that year as an umpire, which ended up being Snow College again at Iowa Western. The next year after that, actually that year we actually were going to be working the NAI National Championship.
Which is where?
Which that year would have been
what changes?
In North Carolina at the time they were hosting it. So
they host?
It would have been out where basically close to Duke University.
Okay.
And
but JUCO's always at a certain place.
JUCO is in down in Little Rock in Arkansas. Yep. And then so everything kind of changed, but we're going to be going out there. And halftime of our game, we're working the JUCO in Council Bluffs. We found out that Grandview out of Des Moines, who was in our conference for the Heart of America at the time, knocked off Lindsey Wilson, who was the #1 team on the road. And they were going to be in the national championship, and that means you guys don't get to work it. So
because they're in the same state,
same conference,
or same conference,
same conference. So conference affiliation, you're out.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me a good story. If I don't have to go to North Carolina, I only got to go to Des Moines.
So I was like, man, that's
too bad.
That's horrible. So yeah, it didn't work out. Earlier in that year, I ended up breaking my leg. I worked Iowa Western at Iowa Central on a Sunday. I'd worked a college game at Graceland on Saturday. I worked a high school game down in Kansas City on a Friday night as a referee, and ended up breaking my leg. I got hit in the side, ended up with a...
In a game?
In a game. Ended up with a tibial plateau fracture of my left leg. I walked on it.
Were you the ref? Were you the...
I was the umpire.
Okay.
So it was.
So you set the ball. Umpire goes behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep. Sport dodge.
Finish the game, of course.
All the way back home. Didn't finish the game. I'm out at halftime. The next day, end up at the med center and go get X-rays, all that fun stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, we need to do a CAT scan." And they basically said, "Hey, you got a fracture in your leg."
That was at the end of the football season.
This is like week 5.
Oh, week 5.
So they tell me, like, you're out 8 to 12 weeks. You're not doing anything the rest of the year.
And we're doing basketball as well this whole time?
Yeah. So basketball's going to be starting up. Football's going. And I'm like, man, I don't like this news. So I kind of progressed things a little quicker than I probably should have. But I come back like 6 weeks in. I think it's the last week of the regular season. I went and worked an 8-man high school playoff game as the referee. I didn't have to run. I could walk around the field and kind of meander my way into the things. And that week I went and saw the doctor, and he's like, well, have you been reffing? And I'm like, no, yeah, I have. So I kind of told him, he's like, well, at this point, you're going to do what you want to do. If it doesn't hurt, go do it. They gave me a brace to wear, and I've been wearing that. I was no weight bearing for like 3 weeks. I think I did like a week. And then I was like, I'm like, I got to get back into doing things. So week after I worked the high school game, I ended up working another high school playoff game that week, and that next week after that. So 8 weeks after breaking my leg, I went and worked a playoff game. And then I went and worked a college game up at Iowa Central again. My boss sent me back to the same place I broke my leg, and I'm like, this is kind of a punishment, I feel like. But worked that.
Just right back on the same crew?
Same crew, yep. And worked that game, and then after that, phone call rang, and then we started talking about playoffs. So went to Northwestern up at Orange City. Up in Orange City. Worked a playoff game up there. It was a second round NAIA game. And then we worked the JUCO national semifinal at Iowa Western. Found out we were going national championship. That fell through. So I was like, all right, well, next year should be on a good crew. I'll be an umpire again. And got the phone call. A guy from down in Springfield was one of the referees. He got hired in the GLVC, which is a Division II. And my boss goes, I need a referee, college level. So I jumped from umpire to full-time referee at that point in time. So that would have been 2023 probably.
Okay.
So I've been going into my 5th year of college football. So worked a full season referee, wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. Still kind of.
Is that going on like evaluation?
Yeah, going on evaluations.
And there's a whole crew, or they pick out a special?
They usually go by. They go by position. Sometimes you get guys from crews.
So like it could be a single.
It could be it could be 3 guys from this crew and 2 guys from that crew.
Is that a problem?
We work on the same thing. We go the same philosophies. We're all in the same conference, so we all work together at some point in time during the year.
So the conference gets nominated to host the championship game.
With when I was in the Heart of America, we had a North Conference, a North and a South Division. So our conference gave out 2 recommendations for playoff crews.
Okay.
Then we started working some KCAC games. They had a North and a South Division, kind of a Kissinger and another one. I can't think of the name of the other one. So we would end up getting, could have an option for 4 playoff crews, and then we'd submit a crew for the ICCAC for junior college as well.
Wow.
Presentation from our conference, usually 5 crews. Sometimes we get a bowl game, so sometimes 6 crews out of 9 or 10 crews from our conference work. So first year referee, nothing. Second year's referee, have a pretty good season. And I'm trying to think if
game after game, are you getting like grades or
you
something?
You get grades every week.
Yeah.
Putting everything in. So that second year referee. Had a pretty good season, and actually ended up going down to Hutchinson, Kansas, and worked the JUCO national semifinal. So they played East Mississippi there. So if you think back to Netflix and Last Chance U, East Mississippi was on Last Chance U.
Sure.
And at that time, that
coach
was done. They'd moved on to University of Indy down in Kansas. But that coach.
That's another documentary there.
Yeah, another documentary there. But that coach was up there, so I worked for Buddy. They ended up knocking off Hutch late, scored a touchdown with under a minute to go, and they went on to play Iowa Western in the national championship and got beat pretty soundly that year. But hey, my second year as a referee, worked a national semifinal.
So. Oh, man, that was pretty crazy.
It was fun.
What's that span right there? Is that?
Yeah, that's a 2-year thing. So first year nothing, second year.
What's the span of the whole thing from
So that's now I'm 8 years into college football.
Wow, cool.
So I've worked 2 years of bowl games, and at that point I think I'd worked out of those 8 years, I'd worked 6 years of playoffs, either in the JUCO or the NAIA level. So then I get in the next year 8 would be that. We work a first round playoff game, full-time referee in the NAIA for the Heart and the KCAC, and working some JUCO. We end up working a playoff game in Wichita. Went down to Friends University, worked down there. the way it all worked out, 2 teams from our conference ended up being in the national semifinals, both playing opposite schools. So we're out. We can't work. And Grandview ends up winning. Benedictine loses late to Kaiser, Florida. They play in the national championship automatically. There's no.
What if they both make
chance.
it? What if they're both in the conference? Can you do it then?
I had that conversation with those guys. They're like, no. At that point, we would have already assigned a crew to the national championship based on what was available.
So throughout the years that you've been doing it, is there any athletes that stand out? Like, oh yeah, I've seen this guy play.
So my second bowl game I worked, I had a school from New Mexico Military Academy. They played Iowa Central. So that running back, I can't even think of what his name is. He ended up going to Nebraska the next year, was their starting running back. And their quarterback at that year was a freshman, and Diego Pavia.
Oh, geez.
So any clue who that guy was at the time?
Sure.
Worked his game. No clue who he was. Just another athlete on the field. He ends up going from there to, I think, New Mexico State maybe, and then from New Mexico State goes to Vanderbilt, and then he's at Vanderbilt the next few years, and then he's a Heisman finalist. So worked him as a freshman in college, had no clue who he was. So
when it comes to junior, like you said, you knew that guy from Miami. Like, is it almost like a coaching staff or like a really obsessive fan? Like, you know of a couple guys coming in like, oh wow, this guy's from Miami. This is gonna be the left tackle for somebody. Like,
don't really know those guys coming out, I guess. I mean, you know they're getting recruited. I know when we worked Iowa Western and Snow that one year, there was, at one time there's 22 guys on the field between offense and defense. I think there's like 15 of those 22 guys have Power 5 D1 offers.
Yeah.
Once they leave this game, they're going to go to work at they're going to be a Division I school the next year. So it's kind of cool to see some of those guys play. The guy that went to Iowa Western that came from Iowa State, he's playing UFL football now.
Oh, yeah.
And been around the system. So working some of those guys, I mean, seeing him play and working his games.
Hunter Decker?
Yeah. Worked him at Iowa Western. Some of those guys, you just see them and you're like, man, they're definitely D1 athletes.
Right.
They that's just who they are. So this last year, working high school basketball, I got to go down and work. I guess it's been 2025, so 2 years ago now. Went down and worked Final Four in Missouri, and then football season comes around. Got hired on or promoted to Division II, working out of the GLVC. Hired me to work 6 games as a referee, 6 games umpire.
Guys that are doing it like you, like going transition. I mean, now I'm going into basketball, or does it get thinner?
There's guys that work both sports. I don't know a lot of guys that work like multiple positions in the same season. That was kind of different. Working umpire one week, working referee the next week. So I might have had like William Jewell as an umpire one week, and the next week I'm the referee on this.
Oh, okay.
On the
Wow.
game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an odd thing, but worked that all season out. Ended up working NAI games for a conference. It's called the Mid-States. So most of their teams are like Marion University is in Indianapolis. So
this is basketball now?
This is football.
Oh, this is still, okay.
So this has been this last fall for football.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up getting nominated for playoffs for the NAI.
This is Division II, you said?
So I worked at Division II, GLVC, and they cover some Mid-States.
Okay.
So kind of back and forth between NAI Division II on a weekly basis. I think we worked 3 NAI games during the season. The rest of them were all Division II games. The first game of the year we kicked off on a Thursday night. We had the Battle of Indianapolis. So it was University of Indy's a D2 school out of the GLVC, and Marion's usually a pretty good powerhouse in the NAIA. Wasn't much of a game, but to them it was a big thing.
Sure.
They call it Battle for the Monument or something like that. I've got a little towel on my wall in my office from it. But so work that. Season goes pretty well. Get on the NAI playoffs. First week of the playoffs, we go to William Penn, and they hosted Texas. I can't remember, some school out of Texas. Anyways, they win that game. After that, we just kind of wait, see if the phone rings again.
Okay.
And I'm now working college basketball. I'm headed down to St. Mary's to work a college basketball game.
You just went to a camp, right? Too. You have to take so many a year.
Went to camp for basketball during the summer. last year for football camps, I went to Cincinnati to Midwest Football Officials Camp. I went to Jacksonville, Florida for a football camp, D1 camp down there. And I went to the FDOC camp in Dallas, Texas, which is like Conference USA Mountain West. So I went to like 3 of those camps.
And what is that? Is it classroom?
It's classroom.
Okay.
It's we talk philosophy, we talk about positioning, mechanics on the field, and then you get those camps, you work scrimmages, you take snaps. Every one of those camps you go to, there's D1 guys. So Michael Vandevelde worked the Division I National Championship game this last year. He was the main guy for the referees in Dallas at that camp. Okay. So the guys you're learning from, I mean, they're top in their conference, or they're NFL guys. I mean, there's guys everywhere. So it's
what's a couple of things that he's just kind of almost blowing your mind, like, oh yes, that is how I'm going to do it from now on.
The NFL guy, what he does at the end of the quarter versus what the guy in the Big Ten does. The guy at the Big Ten, he does not go over to the sideline and check on the coach and then go over to the other sideline and check on the coach. He leaves it to his officials. He's like, this is my guy, this is my sideline, you stay out the middle. Those line of scrimmage guys are kind of that way.
So he wants line judges to almost have a rapport
and they're like,
with the coach.
Like, hey, this is my area. You know, if I need you, I'll let you know. But right now we're good. Don't need you. And the NFL guy, he's like, man, we go to timeout. I run over and I talk to this coach. Say, is there any issues you've got going on I need to know about? They have their conversation. Of course, they get a 3-minute timeout for me.
Sure.
And then he runs over to the other sideline and talks to them. And I'm like, it's interesting. So I usually do it for me as a referee. I usually do it at halftime. I'll check with both coaches before we start third quarter.
Just simply, hey, how we doing, coach?
What, is there anything major, glaring, anything going on? We have a conversation. If there's something they want us to look at, whatever, they usually communicate through sideline guys. If they need to talk to me before they leave the field for halftime, they'll catch me. I'll catch them before they go off, both ways, and they'll catch them when they come back. If I need to talk to my crew about something, I'll talk to them, and then
You ever completely shocked, like going like, this should be all right. How you doing, coach? And he just like steams off.
Sometimes those. I've had a coach use a media timeout down at Hutch. Use a media timeout with a minute to go, and knew he had me for 3 minutes, and he could call me whatever he wanted to because there's no one around, and took my butt chewing because I don't have any clue. I just report the foul. I'm taking care of his quarterback and this and that. But
So so what? From my side, like he's thinking you have power, like you can tell that guy anything.
He wanted someone to yell at, and
sure.
He can't yell at the deep wing on the far side of the field. He's already yelled at this deep wing on this side of the field, and it's not going to do any good. But
has he already filled the line judge's ear then?
Yeah, he's already talked to the line scrimmage, so he's venting at this point in time. He's not liking where he's at because his defense has got 10 yards left to give up a touchdown, and they face losing a game and don't go to national championships. So he's rightfully mad.
Obviously, no names, but do you ever look at a pregame and just kind of go, whew, this one's going to be a Bearcat to get through?
Referees, we all communicate with each other. Sure. There's coaches in our conference, some worse than others that really want to chirp and talk to you. It is what it is. So you talk to them, you communicate, get through the game, and everyone's all adults at the end of the day, and we're all human. We all make mistakes, but we go and communicate and have those fun things.
Are there guys that are on the sidelines? So a buddy of mine did say that he said he was a manager on the field. He said you'd be surprised what Kirk Ferentz says on the sidelines. Because he's like a duck on the water. He's calm up top and stuff like that. Yep. But are there any guys that operate that way? Like if you knew what that guy said, but even though it's coming out in a calm manner.
Yeah, there's guys that are super calm about it, and there's guys that are they're going to scream and yell until they get their way. And
right.
Sometimes you can just walk over and talk to them, and just simple, just start talking to them. We always talk about like if you've got a coach that's out on the field yelling at you, don't stop on the field, go all the way to the sideline, make them come to the sideline. Make them talk to you over there.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
so they won't stop. He's out 10 yards on the field. They'll just walk right on by him and go right on the sideline.
Sure.
We kind of laugh about it. And
we're having a meeting in place over here.
Sometimes by the time you get there, they've forgot what they're mad about.
Calm them.
And they've calmed down, and you're like, hey, just have a conversation with them. So, but we go to camps. We do that thing. Basketball camps. Basketball camps, you go. you might work 7 or 8 games a day of scrimmages of JUCO teams or high school teams or whatever it is. A lot of times I'll go down to KU and work down there. Usually they have like a JUCO showcase, so we'll go work at KU and we'll work 4 or 5 games on a Sunday.
Do you think basketball gets more ridicule? Right straight to the referees? Or more like even like, just judgment in general?
I mean, basketball, every couple seconds you're making a judgment call. Football, you're making a judgment call for 5 to 7 seconds, and then you're going through your pre-snap mechanics and everything else. You're looking for subs and everything else. Basketball is a lot more flowing and everything going on with that. Football, you do have that little break, but
sure,
we get graded harder in football. I mean, we get graded on every play. Basketball, I'm sure once you get to the Division II, Division I, they probably get graded on every play, or they get evaluated on every play. We put in fouls for every call we make. We get graded on every foul that we call.
Oh yeah.
Everything we don't call, we put in something in our system that they look at, and our evaluator looks at. If you didn't call this, why didn't you call it? They want to know you're looking in the right spots, basically. So
when it comes to, I have a rule one that the Euro step. I kind of remember it being with Manu Ginobili. That's kind of where he just took 2 elongated steps to me.
Yeah.
The new one where they pivot and then leave the pivot foot and go into another one.
So now if you think about it, I mean, you go to rules, and they used to be you pulled your pivot foot up. By rule, you got a couple options. You can't dribble after you've pulled your pivot foot. So you can shoot or pass. So they do that Euro step, and this is your pivot foot. Now you hop over to here, or you pull that pivot foot and go in for a layup. As long as your pivot foot doesn't go back down to the ground, it's not a travel, right?
Right.
So you see a lot more of it now, and kids get more athletic. They get a little bit more creative, and all of a sudden, the Euro step came in.
Post moves where they just spin and then all of a sudden take off on the other foot. It's like, wait, they're taking off on the other foot though.
Yep. And when I was in high school, I would have done a step through, and then I would have jumped off both feet, not thinking about it. And now the game's, you pull that foot, you step through, and you lay it in on the other side.
And that's just totally,
and it's
legal?
Totally legal because you pulled your pivot foot, but your pivot foot didn't come back down the ground. So people look at that and they're like, they pulled their pivot foot, they traveled. Well, technically, but they didn't put their foot back down there.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's the game keeps changing.
Sure.
Football keeps changing. Rules change every year. So it gets to be chaotic. So I get into late season football. I get into early season college basketball. I usually try not to make both of them overlap. And of course, this year that happened, so I thought we're probably done for football. We worked our game. Playoffs, if we get something, it's going to be national semifinal, maybe the national championship for college football. Phone's not ringing, so I'm like, college playoffs or college basketball assignment coming out. Yep, I'll go work. So I went and worked a game here, went and worked a game there.
Who's you under with there? College basketball referee?
So I work Heart of America.
Oh, same.
I work KCAC. I work the Jayhawk Conference, so like Indianapolis, or not Indianapolis, Johnson County. There's some schools down in there. Johnson County Community College.
Which is where?
Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of junior colleges in that Kansas City area. I don't go out there for basketball, thank goodness.
I was gonna say,
that's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
But Jayhawk, there's a lot of schools in that area. KCAC's got schools like Avila, and then there's like Tabor. St. Mary's is in Leavenworth, Kansas, so that's one of the ones I do cover.
As a crew, you're just meeting at the arena?
Yep. York, Nebraska's got another one in the KCAC, so get on I-80, go past Lincoln in about an hour, and you're there. So it's a 2-hour drive for me from work.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So it's not horrible, but going to St. Mary's, I'm like 30 minutes from town. My phone rings. It's my referee from college football. He's like, hey, you want to go to Fort Worth in 2 weeks and work the national championship? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So got to do that this last year. So I worked a high school.
Are you booked for basketball that far out?
College-wise, you can be booked that far out.
And then you just got to tell them, hey.
And I just reach out and say, hey, I got a playoff assignment for football. I'm working this. And they're like, done.
For the football, do you get your whole regular season at the bebeginning? Or does that start to progress?
So the conference I'm in now, yes, get the whole season right up front. Here it is. These are your games for the year, and subject to change. I mean, some of that stuff will fluctuate here and there. Last year I had one game as an umpire. I got moved to a referee because of a guy had a death in the family. I had to go to a funeral. We had another one where a guy had got a promotion at work, and he had to be in Germany the next week. And instead of going to Indianapolis or Chicago, I think I was going to be in Chicago as an umpire, and now I'm in Chicago as a referee. And my crew that I'm normally on, they're going to Indianapolis instead, but they were based out of Indianapolis. Most of those guys were, so it's kind of hit or miss. So, but yeah, we go work the national championship at a big 5A, 6A school down in Texas. 2-year-old stadium. Those stadiums in Texas for high school football, they hold like 10, 15,000 people. They're huge. They really are big. We got to work at Crowley Stadium down there. It was a fun weekend.
Yeah.
We went down, and game was on a Saturday. We flew out Friday morning, red eye, 6 a.m., flew out of Kansas City, got down there the day before the game. We met at the field at 3 o'clock. We went through our radios. They had special radios for us for the game. We walked the field. We checked everything out. We saw where we were going to get dressed at, everything like that. With NAI, you have a pregame coaches meeting the night before the game. So we go back to the hotel.
Separately or together?
All together. So we have the athletic directors, the coaches, media, everybody present who's going to be there. We're in a boardroom at the hotel. And for this game, we have, now that I'm not in the heart of America for football, we've got Grandview coaches down this side. We've got Kaiser, Florida coaches down this side. We have all the NAI big wigs for the thing. They're all there. And then all of us officials are just kind of hanging out in the back. So they go through the pregame. They talk about this is going to happen at what time. They go through the whole game day of operations.
Gotcha.
This is what's going to be. We introduce ourselves as officials. And after that, the meeting's over, runs about an hour. We're done. We had pregame pizza and wings and sat and watched football in the lobby of a hotel. And the next day we get up, 8 o'clock, eat breakfast. 9 o'clock, we're at the field. Noon kickoff. It's 82 degrees, December 20th in Texas. We're wearing short sleeves. They gave us special jerseys with the patch on it, with the national championship patch on it.
Yeah.
So I've got that mounted in my office, at work. It's hanging in my office. I see it every day. Kind of brings back some, special memories.
That's cool.
We work the game. It's a great game. Kaiser kicks a field goal and has 3 seconds on the clock. They kick the onside kick, recover it with 1 second on the clock, and they throw a Hail Mary to win the game that gets knocked down at the 5-yard line. And Grandview wins the national championship. It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
So game's over. We go shower. We do our thing. We go back to the hotel, clean up, get out of there. And we go down to the stockyards in Fort Worth, go out and eat. Had some barbecue, walked around stockyards, had a good time, and back to the hotel. And then the next morning, 6 o'clock, we're flying out.
So, I imagine you have a rapport with Coach Woodley. Now that you're a former. Do you congratulate him after the game, or you just never even?
Yeah, Woodley, Grandview, those guys there, they know all the referees that work in their conference.
Right.
They see you, they know you.
Because you're a former one.
Woodley was there whenever I was referee in the conference.
Sure.
He leaves. He went to Drake. And was at Drake for a year, and now he's going to, he got an E1 job now.
I can't remember where it is either.
Yeah,
and his brother took over at Grandview,
somewhere on the East Coast. So the next Woodley crew comes in, and then everything kind of shifts around. Now the defensive coordinator is the head coach there, so I think this was his first national championship. So kind of an interesting process how everything goes. Went ahead and worked a full season of college basketball after that. Worked a full season of high school basketball. Ended up working a quarterfinal Class 2 boys quarterfinal. Worked down in Blue Springs.
So how many basketball games in a week?
I used to work 4 or 5 a week.
Yeah.
Tournament weeks, I'd work 6. I've got a daughter who's a freshman at East Atchison, so with the co-op with Tarkio and Fairfax. So she's a freshman, so I kind of had to set back and take my nights off. She played. I was there. The nights that she didn't play, I was working usually a game either down in Kansas City or St. Joe or somewhere else.
When you're watching games, are you just in your mind criticizing wrestling?
Yeah,
Like, what is he doing?
I would have games and officials would come talk to me before the game, which was kind of funny. Someone would be like, some guys I work with all the time, we'd have a timeout or something, they'd swing over and I'd be sitting in the front row, they'd come over and talk. Coaches knew who I was. I've been reffing high school basketball in Missouri for 25 years, so I think everyone there knows who I am. But watch the daughter play. She's not playing games. I've got a game. So back and forth, balance that between high school, college, everything in between.
What if you hear a fan chirping something that's not right, or you're like, actually,
yeah,
or you just try to keep it?
I've been to those games. Yeah, I've been in that seat where we've had issues, and they're not happy with that, and then they're like, well, what? And it's this, or this,
yeah.
this, or this.
Oh man.
So it's kind of weird. Sometimes I don't sit by my wife. I'll go sit somewhere else because fans start yelling and this and that, and I just want to sit and watch the game, watch the girls play.
How are we doing on time, Dave?
Yeah, we're good right now. So
at the moment, keep going.
Yeah, we're good.
Sure.
Go 5-10
How about
minutes will be good.
Football, basketball. Is there not a real preference, I should say, but it's
so. I always thought basketball was it. I loved basketball. Football gets cold, whatever.
Sure.
This 30-second ad break brought to you by Lance Cornelius of State Farm in Shenandoah.
In football, my goal is try to get to Division I.
Okay.
I mean, that's my goal.
That was kind of what I wanted to ask.
I'm going to these camps. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to work till noon, and I'm going to a camp called Honig's. It's actually held at Michigan State University. So it's more of the COC Big Ten path for officiating. So I'm going to that. It's a camp. It's Thursday, Friday. Friday night we'll start driving back. We'll work a scrimmage on Saturday, which I say scrimmage. We'll work a spring game on Saturday. So spring game I've got is Illinois State. So Illinois State played Montana for the national championship last year in FCS and lost it late. So I'm sure they're thinking big things this year. So
what do you mean you got assigned it with? I mean, is that just because of the camp?
That camp assigns.
Gotcha.
They got about
cool.
12 spring games, and they send crews from that camp out.
From that camp. Oh, great. That's pretty fun.
Yep. So I'm actually working with two guys that were on my first crew as a referee in the Heart of America. They're both out of Springfield. Both those guys work in the MIAA now, Division II. One's an umpire, one's a line of scrimmage. They're going to that camp, but they're actually on the scrimmage with me. We're riding up together, we're riding back, working the scrimmage together. So it's gonna be kind of nice to, hang out with some guys that were.
Are you like, if I'm gonna make it that far, it's gonna be as a referee or it's gonna be as an umpire? Or do you just have a goal like I want to be the?
It's one of those you want to be there. Not a lot of conferences are gonna probably hire you in as a referee right off the bat. You're probably gonna get hired in, and then you're probably gonna get hired in, and then and work your way into a position. So.
Okay. So how do you get? Is it the good grades and going to these camps? Is that how you kind of get
camps? Word of mouth.
And then it's just invite.
No, you can apply to these camps.
I get to get bump up to the conference. So
so are
you going to get a call from the Mountain West Conference, or are you going to learn hey, there's an opening in the Big 12, go for it?
That's kind of how it works. So they get openings and then they hire from within or they hire from below, and everyone kind of feeds up. So
there's pipelines almost?
Pipelines. So NFL hires first. They do all their hires. They hire from.
Then it just starts to move.
They hire from the SEC, the Big 12, and the Big 10, and those guys go up. All of a sudden, there's openings there. So then they fill their spots, whether they're internal, they move somebody to referee or vice versa. Then those conferences below that, Mountain West, Conference USA, they feed up. Then you get to FCS. You've got the big.
It's like Plinko. You're really just going
Big Sky,
sideways uptown.
Pioneer, Ohio Valley Conference. Those feed up. Division II feeds into those. NAIA feeds into Division II. Division III feeds in. It's just a constant. It's just a constant pipeline of things. So, yeah, it's interesting. So,
it's definitely going to take blah 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 years, or it's almost could happen almost any time.
It's one of those things that could happen at any point in time. There's a guy that started working umpire. His first year would have been like my last year's umpire, I think. Was his first year at umpire. He went to a scrimmage at Southeast Missouri State, which is where I'm going next week for a spring game. He went down there. guy was there for the OVC, Matt Young, who's now also the coordinator for all D2 officials. So he gets to say who works the D2 National Championship, but he also runs like the Pioneer and the Ohio Valley Conference. And he hired him supplemental. I think he worked some games in the Pioneer. So we went to like Stetson, Florida. It was his first D1 game. He ended up working his way through, ended up getting a playoff game. I think he went up in South Dakota maybe the next year. Works a full season. I think he ends up again up north this year. Worked a full season, ended up going to Montana for a playoff game, and he got a phone call last week and got hired in the American Conference. So now he's working D1 football. So you just never know.
Yeah.
It's got to be your time. It's got to be the right fit. I know a lot of these guys conference assigners will say, don't come looking for us.
That's kind of what
if
I
you're
thought.
good,
yeah,
we're going to find you. But they find you at these camps. They find you word of mouth through your assigners and everybody else. So.
Realistically, are you geographically kind of, or could you get like the next level of like? That conference has a lot of Georgia and South Carolina teams.
I'm in a good area because anytime they ask that, they're like, "Where's your nearest airport?" Well, I live in Northwest Missouri, so I've got Kansas City is less than an hour away. I've got Omaha Airport less than an hour away. So. I've got options here or there to get to very quickly. Some big conferences don't hire once you get past like the Mississippi River. That's their cutoff. So it's hit or miss.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, Dave, I mean, what a crazy journey. I love that it's like already a good journey, and now we're going to see if you have a goal, keep going. I love that was the goal.
We'll keep firing away, see how things go. We'll see how it works out. So
cool. We got to get you to an East Atchison.
I gotta go pick up a kid from track. So. The other kid, my wife's got my junior high daughter in Mound City, Missouri, and my daughter's in Tarkio. And I told her I'd be there, practice over at 5:30. So
cool.
I'll get there and pick her up. But
awesome. Well,
I appreciate it.
Appreciate coming on talking to the town,
things
man.
change, and I get to the next level. I'll call you and let you know.
Yeah, we'll hear about those experiences.
We'll see how things go.
All right, awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.